of food, colored green, bell peppers and long string beans, pickles, celery, cucumbers too. All these foods are good for you.
Welcome to Storytime Cooks, where we learn about food through books. Today we're going to be reading Mrs. Toggle's Zipper by Robin Pulver. This is a really fun story, and Mrs. Toggle has a problem that we're going to be reading about and seeing if we maybe can help her out. When all of Mrs. Toggle's children arrived at school, they were dressed in their winter clothes. It was really cold outside, and it's gotten cold where we live as well. They had on their winter coats, and they had on their boots, and they didn't want to wear those when they were in the classroom. So they went to their lockers or in the hallway, and they took their boots off and put their shoes on, and they took their coats off and hung them up. And when they got to their classroom, Mrs. Toggle said, "Good morning, class," in kind of a grumpy voice, which wasn't normal for her. The children noticed that Mrs. Toggle was still wearing her coat, the big, puffy, fuchsia-colored one that she got for Christmas. "Mrs. Toggle," yelled Joey, "you forgot to take off your coat." "I didn't forget," said Mrs. Toggle uncomfortably. "I can't take it off because the zipper is stuck. And I'm afraid it's going to be a very long, hot day. If we wore our coats inside, we would get a little too warm, wouldn't we?" "How did the zipper get stuck?" Nana asked. Mrs. Toggle fanned her face. "How does any zipper get stuck? A little bit of the fabric got caught in the teeth, and before you know it, if you keep pulling, it's stuck." Oh no, poor Mrs. Toggle, what is she going to do? The children gathered around Mrs. Toggle's desk to see for themselves. "Yep," said Joey, "that zipper sure is stuck." The others added, "What's worse," said Mrs. Toggle, "the thingamajig is gone." "The what?" said the children. "The thingamajig. The thing that you pull the zipper up and down with. Mine is lost." "Oh," said the children. They all thought happily about their own coats hanging up and not having to wear them, and that their thingamajigs were still on their zippers. "Maybe we can help," said Caroline. "It's worth a try," said Mrs. Toggle. Mrs. Toggle braced her feet on the floor. She leaned forward in her chair and held out her arms. Some of the children grabbed one sleeve. Some of the children grabbed the other sleeve. Paul and Nina grabbed fistfuls of collar. "Now," yelled Mrs. Toggle, and everybody pulled. And everybody landed with thuds and bumps in a heap on the floor. Mrs. Toggle's collar was as far as her nose, but no further than that. Paul wanted to get busy learning times tables. "Mrs. Toggle," he said, "let's go to the nurse's office. Maybe Mrs. Schott can help you." So they went to the nurse's office, and Mrs. Schott said, "Oh my, your face is red. I better take your temperature." Now, why do you think Mrs. Toggle's face might have been a little bit red? Maybe because she was hot. And Mrs. Toggle said, "I don't have a temperature. I just can't get my coat off." And Mrs. Schott said, "Oh, I know how to fix things." She got a Band-Aid out and was trying to put a Band-Aid on the zipper. Band-Aids might help fix us if we have a cut, but that is not going to help the zipper. Oh, poor Mrs. Toggle. And they pulled on her some more, but her coat still didn't come off. So then they decided that they would go see the principal, because principals can take care of problems. Their principal, Mrs. Stickler, he knew how to fix all kinds of things. But when he heard that Mrs. Toggle's zipper was broken and that her thingamajig was gone, he really wasn't sure what he needed to do. They decided they would try pulling some more. So Mr. Stickler got her legs, and the children got her arms, and Mrs. Shot got her collar, and they all pulled. Do you think it worked this time? I don't know. Let's see. Oh no. Her shoes came off, and they all landed in a heap on the floor once more. But Mrs. Toggle still had on her coat. Mr. Stickler said, "Enough of this. We don't want holes in the school floor just because of Mrs. Toggle's zipper where they all landed in that heap. I'm going to call the custodian." Now, the custodian is the person at school that fixes things, so hopefully the custodian will have more luck. Mr. Stickler did mention that they could cut Mrs. Toggle's coat off, but she was not happy about that idea. Her coat was brand new. She had just gotten it for Christmas, and it was her favorite color, fuchsia, which is kind of a purple color. Some of you might have gotten coats for Christmas, and you wouldn't want those to be cut off of you because then they would be ruined. Pretty soon, Mr. Abel, the custodian, arrived, and he was wearing a big work apron. Now, I have on an apron that I wear when I work, when I'm cooking, but Mr. Abel's apron, he works in different ways. His apron was full of tools, and the first thing he did was look at the zipper, and he said, "I think I can fix this. I've definitely seen worse." So he pulls out a pair of pliers from his apron pocket, and he grabs the top of the zipper and wiggles it a little bit, and before you know it, it's sliding down, 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 down. Phew! Mrs. Toggle was able to take her coat off, and a happy smile spread across her face, and all the children cheered. Whew! What a relief. "You should get a pull tab for that zipper before you zip it up again," said the custodian. "I surely will, Mr. Abel," said Mrs. Toggle. "I am forever grateful to you." The principal went back to his important matters. Mrs. Shot rushed back to check on a child in the nurse's office for chicken pox, and Mrs. Toggle and the children went back to their room to tackle those times tables, their math problems. Mr. Abel pulled a small tablet from his huge apron pocket and wrote himself a note. "Remember to look up thingamajig in the dictionary." That's kind of a funny word, isn't it? So today I brought us a zipper so that we could look at how when we pull it down, we unzip, and when we pull the tab, we learned this is a tab, not really a thingamajig. Mrs. Toggle didn't know what that was called, but this is the tab of the zipper, and we're going to pull it down, and we're going to zip it back up. So parents, if your children have not had a lot of experience with zippers, you might find them some things and let them practice zipping things up and down. And we will just hope that nobody gets stuck in their coat like poor Mrs. Toggle. Today, we're going to be making a fuchsia colored or a purple colored smoothie. In our story, we'll remember that Mrs. Toggle's favorite color was purple. And fuchsia is kind of a purpley color. Can you guys think of any foods that are purple colored? Let's turn around here and see if we see some. We have grapes and plums. Some lettuce has some purple edges on it. Purple cabbage is one of my favorite purple vegetables. And eggplant is another pretty purple vegetable. Sometimes we have to mix colors to get purple. So today I mixed some berries. You could use strawberries, you could use blueberries, raspberries, along with some yogurt and some fruit juice. If you want to use plain yogurt, that's fine. You could also use a fruit-flavored yogurt. If you use plain yogurt, you might want to add just a little bit of honey to make it a little bit sweeter, or actually the fruit might make it sweet enough. For our smoothie, you might need some liquid, so you could use milk or you could use fruit juice. You can use canned fruit in your smoothie, you could use fresh fruit, or you could use frozen fruit. And frozen fruit makes a nice thick smoothie, so that might be fun as well. So we're going to mix all of that together in a blender and come up with this delicious smoothie. Now, for those of us that are in a little bit of a hurry, sometimes it works well for us to do some food prepping or planning ahead. So you could actually make this smoothie up and divide it into smaller containers. You could make a lot at one time, divide it into smaller containers, and store it in your freezer. The night before, you could get your container out, put it in the refrigerator, and the next morning when it's time for breakfast, your smoothie is ready to go. So smoothies are a great way to maybe incorporate some fruits, and even vegetables can be added to smoothies without people knowing. And it's a fun way to have a delicious treat that's healthy as well. And it's really fun that you can make them be any color that you want, depending on what ingredients you add, or if you need to make it be a certain color, you can even add a drop or two of food coloring. So today we hope you'll enjoy some of Mrs. Toggle's smoothie. As hot as she was, a nice cold smoothie would taste delicious. This time of year, you might not need as many cold foods, but they're still a great treat for breakfast, a great snack, or just when you want some sort of, maybe even a special dessert. Thank you so much for joining us for Storytime Cooks as we learn about food through books.
We love food.